Welcome to episode 15 of AI Solutions, the pathway to profit. Let's get straight to it. Today, we're tackling AI in the supply chain, from predictive maintenance to demand forecasting. And frankly, if you still think AI is some far-off futuristic concept, you're already 5 years behind the competition. I see too many businesses operating on hope, getting hammered by disruptions because their supply chain is brittle. What I'm here to show you is how AI forges resilience and creates a serious competitive advantage in today's absolutely volatile market. So, let's frame the discussion with a simple question. What if you could fix your critical machinery before it fails and know precisely what your customers want before they even do? That's not science fiction. That's the new baseline. So, let's visualize the landscape. What I often find is that businesses are still running on supply chain models built for a world that no longer exists. Picture a simple rigid chain. One link breaks, and the whole thing grinds to a halt. That fragile linear model just can't cope with the new pressures. Sudden global disruptions, customers who expect everything yesterday, and a real demand for sustainability. It's a perfect storm. This is where you see problems like the bullwhip effect, where a tiny ripple in customer demand becomes a massive, chaotic wave by the time it hits the factory. AI is the key to transforming that fragile chain into an intelligent, interconnected ecosystem that can bend without breaking. So, let's walk through the first core application, predictive maintenance. What I do here is get clients to think beyond simple alerts. This isn't just about a machine telling you it's broken. It's about knowing it will break long before it happens. You might find it helpful to picture a network of tiny IoT sensors on your critical assets, the factory equipment, the delivery fleet, the warehouse systems. These sensors are constantly streaming data back to a central AI, subtle changes in vibration, minor temperature shifts, specific usage patterns. This is where a machine learning model really shines. It's trained to understand the unique digital signature of that machine when it's running perfectly. It then analyzes this live data stream, looking for tiny, almost invisible anomalies that are the telltale signs of a future failure. This lets you shift from costly emergency repairs to planned, non-disruptive maintenance. You're no longer reacting to chaos. You're proactively controlling your operational health. Let me walk you through a scenario I often use to illustrate this. Picture a global logistics firm moving a multi-million-dollar shipment of specialty pharmaceuticals across the Pacific. It's all in refrigerated containers. Halfway through the journey, the AI monitoring the fleet detects a tiny, almost imperceptible vibration signature and a fractional temperature variance in one container's cooling unit. It's not broken yet, but the AI calculates a 95% probability of catastrophic failure within the next 48 hours. Instantly, an automated alert is sent to the maintenance hub at the ship's next port of call. A replacement part is dispatched to meet the vessel. When the ship docks, the crew is waiting. They swap the unit, and the cargo continues, its integrity completely intact. What I find most powerful here isn't just saving the shipment, it's the ripple effect. You've prevented millions in losses, extended the life of your equipment, and most importantly, solidified your reputation as a completely reliable partner. That's trust, and AI is what builds it. So, we've secured the physical assets and made our operations more resilient. What I like to do now is pivot from the how of the business to the what and why. This brings us to the strategic side of the supply chain, AI-driven demand forecasting. For decades, what I've seen is companies relying almost entirely on historical sales data to predict the future. And you might find that in a stable market, that works okay. But when a new trend explodes or a global shock hits, that method shatters. It can only tell you what happened, not what's about to happen. What I want to introduce you to is a more dynamic system. This is where AI moves beyond just crunching last year's numbers. We're building a system that can start to understand the why behind consumer demand, not just the what. So, what makes this AI forecasting so powerful? What I do here is get clients to think beyond their own internal data. We're talking about the AI's ability to synthesize vast, unstructured external datasets, the chaotic, messy information of the real world. You might find it helpful to picture the model ingesting all these different streams at once. It's analyzing social media sentiment to see what trends are bubbling up. It's looking at weather forecasts, competitor pricing, even local event schedules. Some of the most advanced applications I've seen even use satellite imagery to analyze foot traffic in retail parking lots. What this does is create a rich, multi-dimensional view of demand signals. You're effectively moving from static quarterly planning to a dynamic, near real-time demand sensing operation. It's a total game changer. Let me walk you through a practical example I often use, drawn from the fast-moving world of fashion retail. What I like to do here is show how AI tackles extreme volatility. We build models that ingest real-time cultural data, analyzing what's trending on social media, what colors are dominant on the runways, what styles influencers are wearing. The AI can then predict with high accuracy that burnt orange will be the key color in 6 months. What you find is this transforms their entire operation. They can confidently place large orders for the right raw materials and align their production schedules. The outcome is simple but profound. They drastically reduce wasteful overstock of unpopular clothes and avoid frustrating stockouts of their best sellers. It's a direct link from intelligent insight to a healthier bottom line. So we've used AI to master demand. What I like to do now is move the focus from the strategic plan right into the heart of logistics, the warehouse. This isn't your old, dusty warehouse. This is the smart warehouse. What I often show clients first is AI-driven route optimization. You might find it helpful to picture robotic pickers not just moving randomly, but following perfectly calculated paths to retrieve items in the most efficient sequence possible. But it's not just about movement. What I see delivering huge gains is dynamic slotting. The AI analyzes real-time orders and repositions inventory, so the most popular items are always closest to the packing station. And for quality control, we use computer vision systems to automate checks. These systems can identify a tiny product defect with superhuman accuracy and speed, ensuring only perfect products leave the building. So, we've optimized individual components, the factory, the forecast, the warehouse. What I like to do now is bring it all together into one unified, intelligent system. This is where we introduce the truly advanced concept of the supply chain digital twin. You might find it helpful to picture this as a living, virtual simulation of your entire end-to-end operation, constantly fed with real-time data from every sensor and system. Now, here's the magic. The AI uses this twin to run endless what-if scenarios, providing truly prescriptive analytics. For example, what happens if a key supplier's factory is suddenly shut down by a flood? The digital twin simulates that impact instantly, and the AI will then recommend the most optimal, cost-effective alternative sourcing and logistics plan, all within minutes. It's no longer about reacting. It's about seeing the future and choosing the best path forward. So we have this incredible technology. What I find is that the natural next question is always, what about our people? And this is the most critical part. The biggest mistake I see is viewing AI as a replacement. What I always guide clients towards is seeing it as an augmentation tool, a way to empower your team to make smarter, faster decisions. You might find that this shifts the skill set. Your top performers are now working alongside data scientists and AI system managers, focusing on strategy. Now, what I always stress is that this isn't an easy switch. You might find the biggest hurdles are internal. First, getting high quality integrated data is non-negotiable. Garbage in, garbage out. And second, beyond the initial investment, what I really focus on is fostering a culture that trusts data-driven decisions. Without that cultural shift, even the best AI system will just gather dust. So we've unified the system with a digital twin. What I like to do now is look over the horizon at the ultimate destination of this journey, the fully autonomous supply chain. You might find it helpful to picture a self-orchestrating system that manages itself. We're talking about AI agents that don't just recommend, but actively negotiate with suppliers for raw materials based on real-time demand signals. Imagine autonomous trucks seamlessly coordinating their own schedules with smart warehouses to optimize loading and unloading without a single phone call. And underpinning it all, what you find is blockchain technology, creating a perfectly transparent, immutable record of every transaction from source to consumer. This isn't just about efficiency anymore. It's a self-healing, self-improving network that's truly resilient by design. So, let's pull all these threads together. What we've walked through today isn't just about isolated tech upgrades. It's a total operational shift. We've seen how predictive maintenance gives you control over your physical world, how AI forecasting lets you truly sense customer demand, and what I find most powerful, how the digital twin allows you to model the future and choose the best path forward. What I want to leave you with is this. The ultimate goal here isn't just shaving off costs. What I like to see is the creation of genuine agility and resilience, a supply chain that doesn't just survive shocks, but can adapt and thrive. Now, you might find this incredible power raises some very important questions. How do we ensure these systems are fair and don't perpetuate bias? Join me for episode 16, The Ethics of AI, a practical framework for responsible implementation, where we'll explore the crucial ethical guardrails needed for this new era. If you find this information useful, we would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe this channel to help others find us. If there are subjects you would like covered, please add in the comments section, and we will include it in future episodes.